franchise tournaments are the new in thing in the world of cricket. We have tournaments happening all over the globe. Started off with what we know as the IPL, and of course, since then onwards, over the years, there have been tournaments happening everywhere, T20 tournaments specifically. And with all of those happening, we also have this tournament which we are part of, Lanka Premier League. It's the year 2023. Jaffna Kings is our team. We are the undefeated defending champions like us, Jaffna Kings. And of course, success comes to those who work hard for it, those who have plans and execute them quite well. Jaffna Kings, of course, 3 times champions and looking to make 4 in 4 this year too. Of course, we all know it's the players who do all the hard work on the field. That's who we see, that's who we admire, that's who we take a look at in terms of the success that they're bringing to the team. However, behind those players, behind the curtains, behind the scenes, there is another huge team that contributes towards that success, that contributes towards the players putting out their best every time they go out on the field and win those big championships. Again, reminding you, Jaffna Kings, 3 times winners in the 3 LPLs that I've had. And one of the big reasons for that has been the success of the team behind the scenes, the management team. And one of them who is with us today for this special interview is Mr. Mario Villavarayan. Now, there are many designations I can give to him: assistant coach, strength and conditioning coach, fast bowling specialist, all of those things. But we'll just ask him exactly what he does with it. Mario, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Answer the question, what exactly do you do for Jaffna Kings? Because a lot of us are confused here. You do many things.
Yeah, it's like I'm assistant coach, but within that assistant coach role, I look after the strength and conditioning and the fast bowlers.
Right.
And then obviously the strategy part, so yeah.
But we'll come into your role over here with Jaffna Kings, but let's step back a bit. When you're not with Jaffna Kings, what do you do? Mario, what does Mario do? Who is he as a person?
Well, in terms of work, after 12 years of working with international teams, now I'm doing sort of the franchise-based cricket. So I do work with Sunrisers in the IPL.
Right.
Then obviously Lanka Premier League, and then assistant coach I was with the Kulna Tigers last year as assistant coach as well. And then I've got some consultancy stuff with players and
That's great. So you're full-time involved in the game of cricket, which is great to see.
Yeah, it's good to be involved.
Of course. Now, I discussed how there are franchise tournaments going on all around the world now. And that especially, Mario, makes your job even more harder because you've got players constantly traveling, teams. You are changing teams all the time. Players are changing teams. They've got to adjust to conditions quickly. They've got to travel quite a bit from one tournament to the other, from match to the other. How much importance does your role play in tournaments and teams being successful?
I think it's not only the whole coaching staff as a whole is very important, because we need to understand where they're coming from, what they've been doing, what their workloads have been. So if you don't manage them properly, not only physically, mentally as well, we're going to struggle. So I think that aspect has been one of the most important things in our sort of the last 3 years or 4 years of how we as a coaching group have managed these individuals.
And what would you say has been the biggest challenge for you in doing these things over the last 3 years, especially with Jaffna Kings?
Challenge in the sense, look, it's the frequency of the how tight the competition is.
Mm-hmm.
Because in Kandy last week we had 4 games in 5 days.
Yes.
So that is how condensed the tournament is. So that's how we need to. How do we rotate players and which players do we rotate, getting the balance right. So all those things come into play when the tournament is condensed like that.
You talk about managing players from game to game, tournament to tournament. You also look at their histories, where they've come from. Especially when it comes to fast bowlers. Now, we Sri Lankan fast bowlers obviously have a history of breaking down very soon. Now, there could be multiple reasons for that, but based on your experience, what do you do in terms of your expertise to ensure that our fast bowlers are fit and going?
Again, it all depends on from where they're coming from, what kind of background they're coming from. See, for instance, Binura last year when he came to us, was not in great shape. So we knew that we had to look after him to get him through the tournament, because he's one of the most skillful T20 bowlers.
As he's shown in this LPL as well.
Exactly. So, so we had to do that, and we knew we were not going to play in, 2 games in a row. So then we had to have backups. So fortunately last year we had backups. So that goes into our planning when we are picking teams at the auction or the draft or whatever it is.
So also look at where players have been, what they've been doing before you even actually go to the auction with their names.
Exactly. I mean, that's you have to plan. If not, you're going to struggle.
Speaking of the auction, Jaffna Kings obviously created history by getting on board one of the most expensive LPL buys. In fact, the most expensive LPL buys. Everyone's talking about this young prodigy, this young left-arm fast bowler, Dilshan Madhushankar. What have you made of him? You must be really fond of his work and what he does, because you guys paid a lot. I mean, we paid a lot of money to get him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, because he's done well in the last year and a half since he's been in the scene. He's got pace, he's got skill, he swings it both ways. So he's got there's a lot going for him.
Right. And speaking of player management itself, you've got international players as well now, guys who are in the national side, guys like Mahesh Tikshana, and then there are others as the youngsters who have been playing the 3-day tournament, who have been playing domestic. You've got to manage them as well. So you've got people from all over different backgrounds coming, guys who have just finished a 3-day tournament, guys who have just finished maybe a 1-day tournament. And you did speak of the mental aspect as well. You have to work quite hard to figure that as well.
Oh yeah. See, that's why people sometimes think it's only physical, but then we need to keep them mentally fresh as well. That's one of the most important things, because suddenly you're playing, again, as I said, we played 4 night games in 5 days. So you play a night game, come back, sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning, then you've got another game. So how do we keep them mentally fresh? What kind of environment do we sort of create within the group? So all those things, come into play. So that's where sort of my experience with the IPL has helped me, because it's similar. It's not as condensed as that, but similar sort of timings. So it's you start to understand what the players need.
That helps you realize, isn't it, that we just see the TV screens and we wonder, okay, players come in, they play, they go out and they have a good time. No, it's not about that. There's a lot of preparation, there's a lot of background work that goes on, and it's men like these who do all that hard work. 3 years now with Jaffna Kings, this is the 4th year, Mario. If I could ask you if there's one thing that keeps you coming back, what would it be?
I think it's the environment we have created from the head coach downwards, or our director downwards. The environment we have created. We use the word family frequently, but we've not just let it go, or let it be just gone, not as a word. We've sort of, as a group, emphasized and created an environment where actions show that as well. So I think that's one of the biggest reasons we've been successful. But look, success is, can come, can go, whatever.
Absolutely.
Yes. But, as long as you create that environment, people will want to come back to us.
Everyone talks about trusting the process, and I think that applies here more than anything else, doesn't it? You give the players their freedom, their roles, and define them clearly.
Exactly. I mean, the thing is, as you said, yes, success. Coaches get highlighted because of the players.
Absolutely.
Bottom line, because of what they do in the middle.
Yes.
So creating that environment, keeping them in a good place, because they're all here because of their skills. And 3 weeks is not a time where we can do miracles with their skill.
Absolutely.
We will pick them because of their skill, and they're highly skilled players. So our job to keep them in a good place mentally and physically, so that they perform at the best of their ability.
Right. And if I could ask you, just to end things off, what is your end goal, like an accomplishment, that a milestone or a goal that you have, that in a few years' time, this is where I want to be as a personal milestone?
See, I think from an SNC point of view, I think I've done sort of now 2 national teams, I've done IPL. So now what I've in the last 4 years started doing is combining my sort of, before I started as an SNC, a professional sort of cricketer, fast bowler, now combining those 2 roles.
Right.
So with all these, tournaments going on, I'd like to sort of, get to a higher top level doing both the roles.
Right.
So, but whether it'll happen or not, we'll see. But then that's what I want to do.
Well, I can tell you one thing, your CV looks good now with these 3 championships, and hopefully 4 in 4, and we hope to see you in much bigger places, but don't forget Jaffna Kings. Your true home.
That's where I got the opportunity. So,
Been a good chat, Mario.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. So that's Mario Villavarayan. Many things that he does for the Jaffna Kings, assistant coach, strength and conditioning coach, and he takes care of our fast bowlers, which I think is a massive responsibility. And we wish him all the very best. This is the Jaffna Kings. We are the Yal Kollu. We are well on course for 4 in 4. We'll see you again soon. Cheers.